Okay, so sorry I didn't film this, you guys, but my mom came in and I got a little distracted. But as you can see, or maybe it's pretty faint, I basically just went through and marked 2-inch sections on my fabric using this ruler. So I made a mark there, moved it over, aligned my ruler with this mark, marked this, so on and so forth. So, once I've made my markings, I just go through and mark all the fabric, and then I just cut. And you may wonder why the bias strips are all different lengths, if it's bad, if it's bad that they're different lengths, one piece is longer than the other, whatever. Sometimes I don't like to use the short pieces because you just have a lot of seams and that's not very neat on your bias tape, because we will be sewing these strips together. Which, don't be intimidated, that's the hardest part about making bias tape, is sewing the strips together. It's a bit of a math problem. So I'm just almost done cutting here. And as you can see, even these little triangles that we have left over are stretchy because they were cut on the bias. So I like to set my strips out. I like to put the wrong side up. Like so. Now, I have already pieced together some of the other bias strips that I cut, just for demonstration purposes. As you can see, this is the right side of the fabric. Can you see that? I just took a picture, so sorry. So this is the right side of the fabric. This is the wrong side. You always want the wrong side to be on top of the right side. This is very important because you need the bias strips to be sewn together correctly. So just like in every other sewing project, wrong side or right sides together, wrong sides facing out, right sides together, just to reiterate. Now you are going to piece your bias tape, and it's going to start kind of looking like this. Do you see how it forms this shape with the right angles? Okay. So we're going to go over this a few times, but this is how you piece your bias strips together. You get the wrong side of a strip, you put it on top of the right side of another strip, and you align them this way. Now, when you sew, you're going to sew with like a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to mark my sewing line here. It is very important that you have the right sides together, or you're going to have a little bit of a headache. Okay, so now I will show you how we're going to add more strips onto our little chain. Okay, so you will notice that I have the wrong side of this strip facing up. I'm going to take the right side of the strip, flip it over. Oh, that doesn't match up right. That's probably not right. I'm going to turn it over, do this. And that still didn't work quite right. And this is the process of making bias tape, you guys. Like, it's kind of a headache. There we go. It's all about the angle that you cut this part of the strip at. Needs to match up right, or it's going to be wonky. And this is just a learning process. You're just going to have to try this for yourself and you'll get good at it. If you buy a Clover bias tape maker, they have a really helpful sort of sketch. See, that one pieced together perfectly. Did you guys see that? Okay, this is how you do it. Wrong side, right side, line it up at the ends, pin it right here, close to that right angle it's forming. Make sure you pin it. You want your bias tape to be neat. And as your first learning, I would like for you to mark the sewing line. Okay, more. This is the way I always position my strip whenever I'm piecing them together. I have the left or the wrong side up and I have it angled like this. So basically, my perspective, we have the long side of the cut edge facing me. Now I'm going to turn this around for you guys and show you the correct orientation. So this is from your perspective. You take the right side of the strip. Oh, that didn't match up. We need to use the other side. Okay, that looks like it'll match up. And as you can see on this one, it's got a bit of the selvage and that's just fine. And those line up perfectly. It's nice to use a fabric like what I'm using with the chain because it makes sewing these strips evenly very easy because you have a point of reference. So I apologize if this video is pretty long. This is a complicated process. I mean, some people say it's easy, but it wasn't very easy for me at first. I felt like I was taking an IQ test. But thankfully I figured it out and it has really expanded my sewing horizons, if you will. Okay, perfect. So if you guys have any questions about that, please comment or send me a message and I will be happy to help you work through the sort of logical math problem that is piecing these strips together. Yeah, so that's it for now. We're going to go over to the machine and sew these together. And then after that, you are going to need your bias tape maker or something to protect your fingers from the iron, Dritz, cells, thermal thimbles, because you don't need a bias tape maker. But anyway, let's go sew.